You don't earn money, you confess to it. No one gets rich today without paying a psychic price, because the system doesn't reward value, it rewards performance. And the more you perform, the further you drift from who you are. The money that circulates out there smells like inflated egos, distorted missions, and purpose repackaged for engagement. If you still believe it's possible to get wealthy without dirtying your hands, without negotiating your truth, without becoming a persona, this video isn't about tactics, it's about sacrifice. And the question no one wants to answer: how much of your soul are you willing to lose to be seen as successful? They told you financial success is about effort, merit, strategy. That's a lie. It's about your symbolic compatibility with the fraud. You need to smile while selling emptiness. You need to promise transformation without transforming. You need to create scarcity where there's abundance, urgency where there's no rush, pain where there's no wound. The game is cruel, and you know it. But you keep playing, because the alternative is to look like a failure. And no one wants to be the authentic poor guy when they can be the performing rich one. The image of success you consume daily is a carefully curated performance. Behind the scenes are anxiety attacks, identity fractures, and cognitive dissonance. But the camera smiles, and you believe, and you imitate. Until one day, you wake up and don't know if you're selling a product or your soul. That's what I discovered. That money can be a tool for freedom or a contract for emotional slavery. And most people sign without reading. Today, psychic collapse is disguised as productivity. The wounded soul posts content. The exhausted heart offers mentorship. The broken conscience celebrates results. We're living in a showroom of well-dressed ghosts, where those who feel too much are weak, and those who fake well are promoted. But there's another path. Rare, lonely, inviolable to the masses, and deeply real. Making money without betraying yourself. I've lived on both sides. I earned a lot while betraying myself. I lost everything trying to be honest. And only after sinking to the bottom of my soul did I understand. Money buys nothing more valuable than your truth. If you sell your soul to rise, you fall with nowhere left to land. The system doesn't ask you to sell something. It asks you to sell yourself with it. And the more you smile through the script, the more you earn. Your soul begins to fragment through small betrayals. A silence here, a strategic omission there, an intentional exaggeration in your sales copy. Nothing major, you tell yourself. Everyone does it. And that's exactly how it starts. The symbolic transformation of your presence into a commodity. You're no longer someone offering value. You've become a persona offering relief, desire, emotional packaging. And worse, you start to feel proud of it. Because the market rewards those who lie well, those who master emotional triggers, artificial scarcity, weaponized storytelling. Spirituality becomes strategy, trauma becomes niche, pain becomes product. You look around and see who's growing, and a pattern appears. The less truth, the more reach. The more fabrication, the more followers. And deep inside, a voice whispers, to scale, you'll have to abandon your original soul. You hesitate, for seconds, then remember the bills, the views, the starving ego, and you sign. Betrayal doesn't come with blood, it comes with applause, with great job messages, with satisfied clients praising something you no longer believe in, with contracts, testimonials, and celebration. And every time that happens, your soul goes quieter, until one day you wake up and feel nothing. No joy, no guilt, just corporate emptiness dressed as results. That's when the process is complete. When you confuse return with meaning, performance with purpose, profit with presence. Don't be fooled. This system feeds on the wounded. The more traumatized you are, the easier it is to turn your pain into a platform, into emotional authority, into market value. The coach born from shame, the therapist shaped by abandonment, the creator forged by collapse. All of it real, but exploitable. Because the market knows, someone who's been broken will accept almost anything to feel whole again, even selling the last layer of their truth in the name of freedom. And that's how you learn to betray your soul without even realizing it. There's a quiet moment, barely noticeable, when you stop having a job and start becoming the job. Your image becomes a brand. Your story becomes leverage. Your pain becomes copy. Your soul becomes traffic. And even when you're not selling anything, you're being monetized. Because now you are content. You are inspiration. You are proof of concept. And the closer you get to success, the further you must push your human complexity aside. Because it doesn't sell. Because it complicates. Because it's unpredictable. And something inside you begins to wither. Sensitivity must be filtered. Doubt must be hidden. Contradiction must be buried. Everything must seem coherent, polished, aspirational. You wage war against your own humanity to maintain the authority aesthetic. And the more you perform, the more you vanish. Because every persona demands sacrifice. And in this case, it's your soul. The part that doesn't fit the feed. The part that cries in silence. The part that has no answers, but still shows up whole. The body notices. You sleep less, smile less, breathe less. Success begins to feel like a threat, because the bigger you grow, the more you have to maintain the performance. Spontaneity dies. Joy becomes a metric. Pleasure becomes a funnel. Presence becomes engagement. You become a profitable caricature of who you once were. And slowly, you begin to hate what you've built. Because to build it, you had to disappear. But the soul doesn't die. It waits. Quietly. And one day, in between launches, between calls and emails, it reappears. In the silence. In the insomnia. In that sudden urge to walk away from it all. In that burning question, who are you? When no one's buying. And if that question hurts, then maybe you've already sold more than you should have. Not all prisons have bars. Some come with contracts, followers, and glowing metrics. Some come with endless praise, networking opportunities, and irresistible offers. Success, when built on internal betrayal, becomes a cage. A golden, quiet, and almost impossible cage to leave. Because it doesn't hurt you with pain, it feeds you with returns. And you, starved for validation, keep accepting the prizes, not realizing you're drifting further from yourself. The soul starts screaming through symptoms, sudden anxiety, outbursts of rage, self-sabotage masked as accidents, exhaustion that doesn't ease with rest. That's collapse trying to wake you up, the part you've buried begging to breathe. But you resist, because walking away feels ungrateful. You worked too hard. You invested. You built. Now that it's working, you're going to throw it away? Tear the script apart at the peak of the show? Disappoint the audience who paid to see your performance? But you're already disappointed. In yourself. In the version you created. In the distance between your truth and your image. In the price you paid in silence, compliance, and depletion. Because success isn't worth it when it costs your soul as the entrance fee. And that's where the pact starts to unravel. Not with noise, with clarity. You realize continuing means betraying something that's finally awake, the desire to earn, without disappearing. That desire is rare, uncomfortable, dangerous to a system that profits from your constant performance, because those who make money without selling out are a threat. They expose the illusion, they break the loop, they interrupt the cycle of emotional obedience. That's why so few walk this path. It demands losses, sacrifices, renunciations, but it offers what the system cannot: peace. Peace in knowing the money coming in doesn't cost you your truth on the way out. Making money without selling your soul isn't utopia. It's symbolic disobedience. It means rewriting the inner contract you signed when you decided your truth was inconvenient. Now every dollar must pass a new test. Does this represent me or erase me? Money stops being a prize and becomes a mirror. And most people flinch, because mirrors don't lie. If what you offer is a sanitized version of yourself, the return will be noise. But if what you give is presence, the return is peace. You start choosing differently, turning down opportunities that used to thrill you, ending cycles that brought results but cost your soul, writing less for conversion and more for clarity, creating offers that come from alignment, not urgency. At first, it's terrifying. The market slows, the audience recoils, the algorithm punishes. But in the quiet of this new rhythm, something emerges. Self-respect. And that becomes the new capital, because when you stop betraying yourself, the money that comes carries a new weight. It doesn't validate you. It supports you. This is when money shifts roles. It no longer buys approval. It funds your expansion. It serves your clarity, not your image. It protects your energy, not your performance. It gives you space to fail truthfully, not succeed dishonestly. Because you're not trying to be followed anymore. You want to be seen. You're not scaling a business. You're deepening a life. You're not living on purpose. You're no longer living in exile. And when this alignment clicks, the money arrives clean, quiet, clear. It doesn't come from scripts. It comes from a source that no longer needs applause to breathe. It comes from you. And because of that, it doesn't charge your soul when it leaves. It's not money that destroys you. It's what you agree to lose in order to get it. The soul isn't sold all at once. It dissolves in increments, a piece in every false promise, every fake smile, every post you share knowing it's not you, every compliment you receive for a version that no longer exists. And in that slow process, you stop being a creator and become a manager of your own absence. And every dollar that comes in, instead of nourishing you, drains you. But there is another path, invisible to those trained in the aesthetic of success, a path where you earn less at first, but sleep well, where you get fewer likes, but no regrets, where every dollar you earn carries the power of someone who didn't have to self-destruct to be heard. That's the path of those who choose to make money without renting out their soul, and in doing so, gain something the system can't provide, symbolic autonomy. Because when money no longer commands your voice, your time, your spirit, it becomes what it was always meant to be, a tool, energy, access, not identity, not mask, not trap. And that's when the system loses control, because it knows how to seduce ambition, but it doesn't know what to do with someone who has nothing left to prove. This video isn't about finance, it's about presence, the intimate decision to stop performing in the name of success that requires you to slowly die. It's about ending the cycle of monetized collapse, branded breakdowns, and validated disconnection. It's about becoming whole, even if no one's watching. Even if the world thinks you've disappeared, you haven't. You've just stopped being for sale. Comment below, what price have you paid just to look successful? Share this with someone monetizing their own absence. Subscribe and break the financial performance pact. You don't need more revenue. You need to become whole again.